So anyways, as you can see here, here's a div with a StarNGIF. And that's an expression that produces a Boolean, which is going to control whether or not that div exists in the DOM or not. Again, this is not hiding or showing. This is not visibility. This is existence, right? Will it exist or will it not exist? That depends on this Boolean value. So this message text will either be in a div or it will not exist at all. There won't be any div. The asterisk prefix tells us that we're using a shorthand version of syntax. Again, that's syntax sugar. This StarNGIF, this StarNGIF here actually gets transformed into this more complicated syntax, which is using the template element, which has an attribute that is used to show whether or not it will contain that div or not. Actually, another alternative syntax, which is it's also equivalent to either one. Like I don't know if one's better than the other, but in fact, we don't really care. We're never going to write it like this, right? That's just under the covers what it's going to do for us. This is what we're going to write in our code. StarNGIF. It's a structural directive. Now, attribute directive do not use a star. Just structural directives use that star syntax. Okay, so, and there's also an NG4. So here's the StarNGFOR, and it's going to iterate over each pet element within a pet's collection. And for each pet in that collection, so that's probably an array, right? So for each pet in that array, we're going to use this double curly brace interpolation syntax. We're going to get the list of all the pets. So this is the list of pets: cat, dog, hamster, rabbit, fish, bird, turtle. That's this NG4. Right. So this pets is actually defined as this array of strings. Let pet creates a local variable within the NG4 syntax. So this pet string here is actually pseudo code. It really declares a variable named pet, and it iterates over the elements in the pet's collection. So for each iteration, pet will take on the value of the next string in the array, and so that's why we display a list of each pet in that array. The equivalent NG4 syntax without the star, that's the full template syntax. Again, we don't really care. We're never going to write it this way, but this is, this is the actual result of that syntactic sugar right here. There's also, and so this is what it would look like if you did this within a table. We've got multiple rows. Do you see that? Hopefully everyone is familiar with HTML. You know what a table is. You know what a row is. You know what a data column is. So TR is a row and TD is a data column. And we're going to display a table similar to what we see over here. So first name, last name, and email. That's first name and last name and email. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like there's 5 elements within that list. So x.fname, x.lname, x.email, those are used to display the contents of that table. NG4 local variables. So find a local variable within this syntax. Actually, there are predefined variables that you can use, and they have specific names that we use. So these are named index, first name, last name, even, and odd. So index is the zero-based integer of the current item that we're on in this loop. This is the first, and that's the last. These are Booleans that tell you if you're on the first one or the last one. So it's true for the first is true for the first and false for all of the others. Last is false for all of them except for the last one where it's true. You also have even, which is a Boolean that tells you true for those that are even numbered indexes, and odd, which is true for those that are odd numbered indexes. So you can use that within your code to apply a different NG class. So you see how you got a background color of blue or a background color of white? We're flipping back and forth based on even odd values, right? So we're saying let E equals even. Even here is that guy right there. Let E, that's a variable that's being used here. And we're setting a CSS class according to that true or false value. So even row would be the name of a class that's going to be true for the even numbered ones. So that blue color is coming from that CSS class. NG4 changes in the background data source. Okay, so this is data binding. That means that this will automatically update the contents of this for loop. Data source changes. So you can, this example has delete buttons. So when you click on each one of those delete buttons, it will go and change the contents of the source to remove that particular item from the list. And you can also swap elements with ng switch. So I said before that ng switch is great for doing a tab user interface.